We're going to talk about bringing home baby for the first time, which can be, let's face it, if you've gone through this, a pretty overwhelming, it's joyful, but overwhelming experience as well. It can be, more so for some than for others. A lot of things going through your mind. Number one, you want to keep your kids safe, of course, and you're hoping to be a good parent, and the list goes on. Well, on the line with us right now is the author of a new book called Baby Comes Home, a parent's guide to a healthy and well first 18 months. And the author is pediatrician Dr. Paul Remiliotis, practicing for more than 30 years. He's on the line from Ottawa. Doctor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Barry.
30 years. That's, boy, you've seen a lot of babies.
Yes, I have.
So what's the first thing you would want people to know?
I would want people to know that they should learn that babies will adapt and that parents will adapt. And in order for that to happen, parents need to be prepared and know as much as possible ahead of time. So I believe and I've been sort of practicing this for many years, when it comes to your child's health, knowledge is comfort. So you've got to be knowledgeable, and then you'll be comfortable, and then you'll be able to address a lot of the issues that if you know about them ahead of time. So I put together this book. Actually, it's been 20 years in the making, with the thousands of questions that I get through my website and through parents about common issues that parents can know about. If they know about ahead of time, they will actually quite easily be able to handle these things. Very simple things. We're talking about home safety prevention, injury prevention, nutrition, nutrition and sleeping and routines and all those things.
Yeah.
But importantly, what I've done as well is I've actually looked at some of the new science that actually proves what we always knew. Tender loving care and nurturing your baby actually makes a difference in the baby's life course 40, 50 years down the road.
I mean, you're setting the foundation.
Yes, you are. But we actually know scientifically now what that foundation does. And so that's why we encourage parents to, whatever they're doing, be comfortable, enjoy your child. As soon as the baby's born, talk to your baby, interact with your baby, because the baby's brain develops tremendously over the first 18 months. And there's a reason I chose the 18-month limit. And not that the rest of childhood isn't important, but these first 18 months are where the baby's brain forms all the connections. And those connections really determine the child's ability to go to school, socialize, and we now know to be healthy or not. So it's quite important to be able to, be comfortable and have the environment at home in order for you then to be able to take care of those other little challenges, which every parent has. Baby comes home, you don't know if how many hours the baby has to sleep, how to burp a baby, how to feed a baby, all the breastfeeding issues and so on.
Yeah.
So I just put everything in one book, but what I did is I purposefully started the book with the science of tender loving care. I call it the science of tender loving care and some genetic studies and so on. And then I actually put in keeping baby safe at home, because parents, the first thing they'll ask me is, doctor, how much is this normal? Is the baby feeding properly, and so on? But they don't ask me, how can I baby-proof my home? How can I be careful outside the home? Car seats and those type of things. So I kind of preempted this by talking about what you can do to ensure that you have a tender, loving, affectionate, safe environment for your baby. You can then read about a lot of the issues that are in there. I talk about childhood illnesses as well, because I believe that no baby will not deal, cold and those type of things.
Yeah.
And so the more you read about it ahead of time, and the more you're prepared, the more you can go back and be comfortable with your baby. Not only provide, sort of a calm, stress-free environment, but also be able to cope with the many challenges and changes, because a baby is going to change. Baby comes home, weighs 7 to 10 pounds, doesn't move, and within 18 months walks, talks, runs.
I know, just before you know it, right?
Yeah,
Running
exactly.
and talking and all that. But some parents they'll have the baby sleep in the same room for maybe the first few days or even the first couple of weeks. How long would you suggest that is a good idea before putting baby in their own room?
Well, that depends on the individual circumstance. We actually do recommend, in order for it to promote breastfeeding, that the best place for a baby to be is in a crib beside the mother's bed.
Yeah.
And so I would recommend, for at least a couple of months until baby gets used to the breastfeeding routines and so on, because it takes about 6 to 8 weeks for the baby to get used to the breastfeeding routines. And it's an individual choice, Barry. Some people do it for 3 months, some people do it for 4 months in terms of keeping them in the room. What I strongly am against, though, is putting baby to bed in the same bed as you.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, that co-sleeping, I know there are some cultures that promote it. and it's kind of tempting for parents to do so. But co-sleeping has a whole slew of dangers that I talk about in my book.
For instance,
suffocating baby and increased SIDS and so on. So I think the temptation, although is there, you need to have, and you should have your baby close to you. And like you said, like the recommendations say today, babies are best in their crib beside your bed.
Besides, the suffocation risk, what other potential harms are there for a child sleeping in the same bed with their parents at that age, at that young age?
At that age, it's more suffocation, and it's sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS.
And I've heard stories, I'm sure you have as well, people who, like the kid could be a year, even 2 years old, and still sleeping in the parent's bedroom.
That's right. Well, and then there's also, and then you're going to have sort of developmental and behavioral repercussions. The baby will then not want to sleep alone in the room, and you'll have difficulties sort of weaning the baby from your bed to the child's bed in another room. So I think that it's important for a baby from day one to get used to sleeping in his or her own crib, but being as close to you as possible. And like I said, the breastfeeding that we recommend for at least the first 6 months of life is fostered and is made easier if the baby is right by the bedside.
That makes a lot of, look, instead of having to get up all night long and run into the kid's room, and believe me, I know you've been there, I've been there.
We've all been there.
We've all been there, and it's the sleep deprivation is just,
It is, and that's another thing too. And I talk about, babies crying and sleep deprivation and all those crying shifts, and that's another thing that I talk about in the book is parents need to be able to take care of themselves as well. So if you feel overwhelmed, the baby's crying a lot and you're tired, you should take a break as a parent. Have the other parent or a grandmother or grandfather take care of the baby a bit, go get some rest and come back, and you'll be fully rested and having actually missed your baby.
Doctor, thank you for this.
Thank you.
The name of the book is Baby Comes Home, A Parent's Guide to a Healthy and Well First 18 Months by Dr. Paul Remiliotis. Doctor, again, thank you very much for your time. And it's, chock full of good advice. It's an almost 400-page reference guide, and just look for it online. If you type in Baby Comes Home, I'm sure you will find it on.
And it's in stores as of next week.
There you go. Thank you again, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
All the best.